Evening ceremony at the base of the Pool of Reflection by visitors to the memorial and students on behalf of Gladstone Park Secondary College from Melbourne, Victoria. Staff and students of Gladstone Park Secondary College continue to remember former student Corporal Cameron Stewart Baird, recipient of the Victoria Cross for Australia and the Medal for Gallantry. Corporal Baird tragically lost his life while serving in Afghanistan on the 22nd of June 2013. If you're able, please stand and join in singing the National Anthem. If able, please be seated. The Australian War Memorial was the vision of Charles Bean, Australia's First World War official historian. Bean landed with the Australian troops on Gallipoli and stayed with them at the front through to the end of the war. The idea of this national memorial and museum came to him in Pozières, France, in the depths of the bloody fighting of 1916. Bean's idea was that this would be a place where family and friends could mourn loved ones buried in faraway places. It would also be a place that could help all Australians understand what these men and women had endured and what they'd done for us. Bean's vision, to which we remain true, is best expressed as inscribed in the entrance to the memorial's galleries. Here is their spirit, in the heart of the land they loved, and here we guard the record which they themselves made. Tonight, we will read the story behind just one of those on the Roll of Honour, which lists the names of more than 103,000 men and women who gave their lives for us in war and on operations for more than a century. But first, we present a lament, Flowers of the Forest. Wreaths or floral tributes will now be laid at the base of the Pool of Reflection.
Today, we remember and pay tribute to Private Edmond Charles Sloggett. Edmond Sloggett was born on the 3rd of October 1893 in Hillgrove, New South Wales, one of 10 children born to Herbert and Mary Sloggett. He went on to find employment as a sawmill hand and was a member of the Wollombi Brothers Lodge. On the 31st of May 1913, he married Kathleen Pearl McCoon in the town of Armidale. The couple had their first child, Vera May, in 1914, and their second, Reginald, in 1915. The family was living in the Sydney suburb of Marrickville at the outbreak of the war. Edmond Sloggett enlisted in the Australian Imperial Force on the 13th of August 1915. He was assigned to reinforcements of the 2nd Battalion and began a short period of training in Australia. He embarked for active service from Sydney on the 30th of December that year aboard the troop ship Medic. Private Sloggett arrived in Egypt in early 1916 and continued training with new recruits and veterans of the recently abandoned Gallipoli campaign. He remained in Egypt until March that year when he embarked for the Western Front. Arriving in the French port city of Marseille a week later, he was immediately sent north to the Somme Valley, which had been the scene of intense fighting since 1914. He officially joined the rest of his unit near Ataplu on the 25th of May and was involved in working parties and continued training exercises. Sloggett took part in his first major battle of the war 2 months later near the French village of Pozières. In July 1916, Australian units fought desperately to capture the village and the high ground along the Pozières Ridge. Sloggett's division was the first to go into battle, entering the front lines on the 23rd of July. Under relentless enemy artillery and machine gun fire, it managed to successfully capture the village, later joined by the 2nd and 4th Divisions, making 19 attacks against enemy lines over 42 days, at a cost of more than 23,000 casualties. Among the dead was Private Edmond Sloggett, who was buried alive after a German shell hit his trench, causing it to collapse. After the battle, he was listed as missing in action between the 23rd and the 25th of July 1916. Much to the anxiety of his parents, his wife and his children, he remained listed as missing until 1917. His mother later received a letter from his comrade, Lance Corporal Hunter, who detailed Private Sloggett's final movements. I, the undersigned, send you this sad letter as a mate of your son, since he joined up with the battalion. I saw him every day, and he was a good lad, willing and honest. We were in the big push at Pozières, and your son was buried by earth through a big shell on the 25th of July. And as more shells came, his mates could not find him. He was killed outright, and he could not have suffered. This happened when his battalion was doing good work, and you may have heard of the Pozières fight. On behalf of the company, I send you our deepest sympathy. Your son was killed doing his duty. Private Edmond Sloggett's final resting place was never found. Today, he is commemorated on the Australian War Memorial at Villers-Bretonneux among more than 10,000 others who have no known grave. He was 23 years old. His name is listed on the Roll of Honour on my right among almost 62,000 Australians who died while serving in the First World War. His photograph is displayed today by the Pool of Reflection. This is but one of many stories of service and sacrifice told here at the Australian War Memorial. We now remember Private Edmond Charles Sloggett, who gave his life for us, for our freedoms, and in the hope of a better world.
Please stand for the reading of the Ode and the sounding of the last post.
They shall grow not old as we, the left, grow old. Age shall not weary them, nor the years condemn. At the going down of the sun and in the morning, we will remember them. Lest we forget.
We leave you this evening with the words of the memorial's founder, Charles Bean. Many a man lying out there at Poziere or in the low scrub at Gallipoli with his poor, tired senses barely working through the fever of his brain has thought in his last moments, well, it's over. But in Australia, they will be proud of this. Ladies and gentlemen, girls and boys, that concludes the last post ceremony. On behalf of the director, staff and volunteers, thank you for visiting the Australian War Memorial today and for your continued support of the Memorial's development project. We wish you a very pleasant evening. Thank you.